Welcome back to the Jimi Priceless Show, and this is part 13 of the Author series. Hey yo, welcome back to the Jimi Priceless Show, the weekly YouTube show hosted by yours truly, Jimi Priceless. And this is another episode of the Author series. For those that don't know, the Author series is basically my experiences and my point of view on all things, that come along with being an independent artist, and chasing your dreams and all that kind of shit. So, currently, part 13, all the previous parts are available, in a very convenient playlist that I made. So if you want to get into those first, you can check that out over here. Or you can just, finish this episode and then check it out later. Either way, I hope you guys enjoy it. So for this episode, I wanted to speak about, something that comes with the territory of being an artist, and usually more when once you gain a big following and have an audience and a large platform, and that is kind of the social responsibility that comes with being an artist, like being conscious of the effect that your words or your visuals or your whatever your art form is could have on, the public. So, for example, someone who raps about, selling drugs or some shit, to them it's like they're just telling their story. But, from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, they're glorifying it. And, oh, it's a bad influence on kids or whoever, and then you even see it with like, Lil Nas X and his whole vibe, like, oh, it's a bad influence, he has to be responsible, blah, blah, blah. And, my take on that whole thing is, with I would say the critique that you will get, majority will just be, from people online who have too much time on their hands, really. Because we've all seen artists being, called out for shit online and stuff, but then, they still get booked for shows, they still be performing, they still get in the bag. So, for the most part, I wouldn't really worry that much about it. Because I really feel that it's inappropriate sometimes, the accountability that independent artists or artists that are not as big as a major artist, I don't think that they should be held to the same standard, because if you like artists on a major label, like there's certain shit that you can't say, there's certain lines you have to stay within. Whereas if you are independent artist just doing your thing and somehow one of your songs come across someone and then they have a problem with it, because for me it's like you're not out there trying to be like Mr. Heal the world, you're just doing your thing. So my disagreement with it is kind of like that hypocrisy of certain artists get held to like certain standards and certain artists don't, solely based off likability. And that's a big thing that I've discovered, is how much likability like really either boosts or hinders your career, because there are artists that really aren't that great at their specific thing, whether it's singing or rapping, like the skill, that they list in their bios. They're not that great at it, but because they are so not friendly, but they come across so like personable, they kind of get more people to gravitate towards them, and get more opportunities. So when it comes to things like social responsibility within your art form, all that kind of bullshit, I really don't care about it, because I know it's based off bullshit. I know it's based off, well, they're gonna call, let's say, I say some wild shit about penguins, they're gonna call me out for shitting on penguins, but if like that person's homie had to do it or their favorite artist, it's kind of like, oh no, it's creative license. So to me, for the most part, so much of it is just bullshit. So if you as an artist, you wonder about, you using, or whether you should be using your platform to talk about social issues. If you feel you need to, absolutely go ahead. But if you don't, have that much to say, like, don't don't say anything, because people can also get when you're just hopping on like the wave, like when there was the whole Black Lives Matter thing, and then every rapper had a "fuck the police" song out, and then once the wave died down, they were on to the next single. So as an artist, if you aren't a conscious artist, if you're not trying to awaken people's mentalities or whatever their slogans are, then I don't think you owe anyone any explanation for making the music you make. Even though I do feel it is helpful when artists speak about certain issues, but it shouldn't be a thing where you feel forced. Because for the most part, artists that make these socially conscious songs, if that isn't within their wheelhouse anyway, those songs just come off as really cheesy. So, as if you feel you need to speak out about the issue, then, I'll always go ahead for it. But don't feel pressured to do it, That's the reason I don't. Because when it comes to my music, I want to make like theme music, I guess, like shit you listen to when you feel a certain way. Like, I'm about to have a great day. Jimi Priceless music about to, make me turn my ego up, I'm gonna be killing this day. Whereas other artists, that are like socially conscious, they know how to do it well. So I know I don't know how to do that well. Like I don't be keeping up to date with what's happening in the world like that, So I'm not gonna be out there just speaking out of ignorance just so I can seem like I care about what's happening in the world, Because, like Jay-Z said, there's much bigger issues in the world, I know. But I first got to take care of the world I know. So, I only care about the world I know, which is the people close to me, to be honest, Like, do I care enough to share, like, things that's happening in the world? Of course I do. But do I care enough to, like, physically do something about it? Not really, because it's not the world I know. And a lot of people feel that way, but they feel that they can't say it because now it's like, oh, they're heartless. But now it's like you're rather gonna be disingenuous and kind of fake about it. So that's just my take, And I think I've spoken about it in previous episodes of the Artist series. And even the first episode of the Artist series was about intents and purposes, like what is your intent with everything you do, like making a statement, speaking about social issues. What is your intent? Are you doing it to bring light to it, or are you just doing it because it's a wave, because you feel pressured, because it's the in thing to do? And for me, I never do what it was the in thing to do, Creatively, I don't. So normally I just, like I said, for most issues, I'm not that well clued up on it. I don't be reading everything that's going on in the world, because I know I can't do shit about it, first of all. So, that's just my take on it. Do what you feel is necessary for your art form. Once you get to a major stage where your words can affect people, can affect the masses, then, that's when I would be like, oh, let's talk about this. Because, what's the use? You're out there making Heal the World anthems every day for like 100 plays, Like if that's you, that's you, But for me, as an artist that makes music that I want people to feel good to when they listen to, I want people to have a sense of, escapism from the issues that's happening, to just have a moment of just, I'm good, I'm not worrying about what's happening in the world. I'm good, that's the music I kind of make. So, that's just my take on, artists being like socially responsible and all that kind of shit, I'll end it by saying, and this is kind of cheesy nowadays because we hear it all over the place. But, be authentic with what you do. So If you authentically feel that you have to make a song speaking about what's happening in the world, go for it. If you feel that you don't, then don't do it, because everyone has a platform, everyone has a Twitter account, an IG account, and the average Insta thought or TikTok thought has more of a following than artists do. So if you're speaking about people with a platform, not speaking about social issues, holla at them hoes. But that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back next week with another episode of the art series. I'm out.